So, Fun Kitty Stick is an out-control game where you can have fun with your cutest kitties via a cat stick controller. In Fun Kitty Stick, you just receive a cat from your mom, but the cat seems not like you so much. Therefore, to build a relationship with the cute kitty, you need to use your cat stick to lure around in your room and find its favorite items. Our design pillars and goal for this game are to deliver a smooth controller and an interactive kitty. For the controller, we need to find a natural way for players to use the controller, while it could also be accurate for players to control the cat stick in the game. And another thing to make the cam interactive is not only about to make the kitty's behavior interesting, but also the environment in which the kitty lies. So therefore, not only while creating exciting kitty animations, we also focus heavily on making the room interactive by placing a lot of interactive items there. By luring your cat around in the room, you'll find many things to interact and you can see your cutest kitty behave in the cutest way. That is the joy you are playing around with this game. Players will use the controller to control the cat stick's movement, while the kitty in the game will react to your cat stick and behave in its cutest way. Watching the kitty's behavior could be more than interesting, while its reaction to room objects could be also intriguing. I hope you will find your joy in playing with it.
So basically, if this sensor were the screen and this was the controller that the player was holding, if they move anywhere on the x-axis or the y-axis, and more critically on the z-axis towards and away from the screen, the stick will be able to track wherever the player moves without them having to hit any buttons. Then the cat will follow wherever that stick goes on the screen.
Building the controller was amazing. It was a great experience. I have experience in alternative controllers, and so it was really fun to go back to those roots a little bit. So how does the red light turn on, and how does the electromagnet become activated? That was one of the biggest hurdles in our design of this box, and we decided that what the player is really going to be looking at is the cat. So simply, when the cat touches the cat stick in the game, this signal will turn on and the electromagnet will be active. If the cat stops interacting with the stick after a certain amount of time, then it'll turn off. After a lot of testing, we found that this was a pretty fun and accurate way to simulate that haptic feedback.
The main purpose of our design is to make users feel like our cat is a real creature that you can interact with. So since our game mechanic is so simple, we don't want users to get bored in a very short time, so we design multiple interactive things in the scene, such as the Roomba on the floor. The cat can jump on it and to move with it, and the laptop on the table, and we also hide something under the bed and in the closet, so user can try their best to explore this room as much as possible. And also we want to make our scene like movable, so we design some special materials for the bed, for the bed sheet and the clothes in the closet, which will also be fun to explore.
I conducted surveys before every pretest to get feedback on the magnet, haptic, and the player's experience. We use this data to support other designers and hardware engineers. As for the narrative parts, the biggest challenge is that we have a ton of ideas and we couldn't reach an agreement for a long time. But with the feedback from our faculty and peers, we eventually decided to stick to a simple story background instead of a more complex narrative. A young girl receives a kitty from her mother, and the story begins while the players play with her new kitty friends.
I am responsible for all of art style control, model provision, scenes construction and beautification, as well as all UI, narrative comics, and live 2D cover animation in the game production. Our game art style positioning to create a childish and casual atmosphere for players. Initially, I hope our game's art visual style tend to be like Untitled Goose Game, but completely flat shader is not suitable for our gameplay, which needs to certain dips. So here comes our current art style version.
I did the animation assets for our team. When we need a new animation for the cat, I basically start looking at the cat of mine and see how they gonna react on that situation, and I just figure out some keyframes of the start point and the end point and the key points in the middle, and I make them into a whole animation and maybe add some details for the ears, the claws, something like that, to polish the animation.
What I do is to make the cup on the table and the plant vase, so that you can push it down to the ground, and when it have the collision with the ground, it will become a lot of fragments, and the cat can play with these fragments as well.
Developing an alt control game led to a number of production hurdles. Developing new technology to utilize for our hardware was unpredictable and challenging. Thankfully, our team continued to adapt and consistently deliver. As Funny Kitty Stick evolved through user research and feedback, so too did our controller. As a producer, I helped ensure that through these frequent shifts in design, our team stayed on the same page and our game stayed on track.
I also like to develop the game. I'll say it's a really interesting process because of the very unique cat AI agents. It was particularly interesting to develop the movement AI for the cats. We're able to develop a few dynamic advanced algorithms for that. I also got opportunities to be involved in other stuff such as the UIs and a lot of cat selection, game designs kind of stuff. It was also interesting because I also got an opportunity to learn all the animation stuff from our other teammates. Well, overall, it's a very fun process to develop the game.
It was pretty difficult adding 10-plus-year-old tech to a new game, but it was a lot of fun to work with the IR camera and have it interact with the sensors to track the cat stick in 3D space.
And for me, my primary working on the gameplay part, like the cat animations part and the environment interactable items part. Oh, I also add a very interesting thing that the cave, like Batman, there is also a rat cave on there. If you jump to the closet, up to the closet, and you will see the cat, and the cat will dress the cat, and when the cat fall from the closet, the cave will look very awesome.